their strategy, but we'll see what Afreeca wants to ban out here, because if KZ does decide to go for one of those picks, then Afreeca definitely could answer with the other one as it does rotate to the red side. There is the Cogmaw banned out.
I think it's a bit of a junk ban just because it feels like Kingzone aren't going to gravitate towards it. And like you say, they don't want to give away Ryze and Gnar, but one of, as a trade, is a pretty decent solution. So waiting for Kingzone here, maybe a bit surprised. They're not going to just take the stronger of the two. Ryze is the one who kind of defines the meta right now. Doesn't have any terrible matchups, especially if the early game is passive enough that you can hit all your spikes and get a QSS against Malzahar. So given that, they're happy to run the Ryze. We'll see if Afreeca is going to take away the Gnar in the first round.
BDD was also low-key, just doing everything very well. He was super solid in game number 1. His Realm Orb to catch some of the weakened members at the fight at Dragon. Also to just get to Baron is... he's been pretty good on that champion. They give that to him again. We do see the Gnar being hovered after the Varus that was already locked in. This would be the trade we were talking about. We'll see if they want to give Keen a shot.
And it does kind of... And because the Varus takeaway kind of does push Prey into something like the Tristana, where 480 carries deep now, and the first 3 are banned, and the Varus is seen as the next tier list 80 carry. So another team might have first picked Varus, but certainly not Kingzone. And hey, look who's back! It's Jace for Khan. This is a classic, and it's also with Cuz in the lineup, maybe on Kha'Zix, but we know he largely does path around topside. We hope to come away from this series with the answer to the question, how will Kingzone integrate BDD, Khan, and Peanut? We only got a single game of inaction, but we know all about this pick, Valdez.
I mean, it's his pick, right? When you think of Jace, you think of Khan. When you think of Khan, you think of Jace, vice versa. This is going to be hard for Prey now because they definitely can target out some more 80 carry bans, but I feel like Kingzone made this happen, right? They take the Ryze, they expect the Gnar to be taken, and they're like, okay, we're just going to go ahead and counter you with the Jace, rather, up in the top lane. And it's really putting a lot of pressure on Keen. He has to perform against Khan, or else it's going to be a kind of embarrassing 2 games for him.
It's also a min-max for the side of Kingzone because, hey, Khan has had that shorter LCK career. Give him his champion, whereas Prey has been around forever, been through every single meta as an 80 carry. You ban all these 80 carries out. Who's to say he just doesn't lock in Ashe and do his Ashe arrows like no one else can? So if you're thinking about who can absorb bans the best, Prey you'd certainly take over the side of Khan, and you get the good laning matchup into Gnar for the Jace. So it's even better when you get Jace in a good matchup because this man certainly can just have a field day in top.
Very much agree. I mean, even if you go ahead and ban Xayah, right? There's another pick we've been seeing a lot at Sivir. He can go ahead and pick that. If he doesn't want to pick that, maybe he brings out his old Ashe, right? There's definitely some options for him. There are 2 big supports that are left over, the Braum and the Alistar. So if they want to go ahead and pick those, just like in the last game we had those 2, Gorilla can get that one. So
I mean,
I feel like Kingzone is sitting pretty right now.
I mean, support pool is full power, right? Even Tahm Kench hasn't been banned yet.
True,
so
true.
Tahm Kench, Taric, Braum, like you say, are all very, very likely choices here. Spirit wants to ratchet up the tempo a little bit.
Ooh, okay. Definitely can get aggressive with that pick. He can try to get in onto the Kha'Zix. He can do a very nice job with counter-ganking up in the top lane as well. So a bit of a nod from Afreeca saying, okay, you want to play that game? For sure. We can go ahead and play that game with our own Lee Sin.
And Prey and Gorilla are probably going to be all alone, so safety is probably prioritized from the bot side. Caitlyn, we didn't even pay lip service to, has been pretty common. So despite all the 80 carry bans takeaway, 680 carries accounted for, Caitlyn Braum is pretty damn safe to be ignored on the bot side, which is just the Kingzone way. Aiming's debut bot lane he'll be facing will be that Caitlyn Braum. Debuting against Prey and Gorilla. Certainly memorable, but also pretty scary for the side of Aiming.
We'll see if he can have a solid game on the Varus. And let's just see what pick we will have here. Tahm Kench still available, as you were mentioning, but
not really
if they do want to make, if they want to make some plays, maybe the Alistar, but looks like they're just going to go for that Janna. Just say, no, just get away from us.
It's kind of a weird time to pick Janna for my read, just because Janna's great against melee threats jumping in, so you think, okay, Kha'Zix, but Jace doesn't spend a lot of time in hammer form, might also be split pushing the majority of the game. Braum's probably going to be more on the peel side of things, so the Janna here doesn't absorb poke very well, so Jace definitely going to have a field day against low armor Janna in the poke wars. Bit of a strange one to me. Tahm Kench wasn't exactly massively. I think Tariq could have been considered, but maybe they're just worried about teamfights being kited out. So they've gone for Janna. Good in the lane against Braum, it should be mentioned, but in the teamfight phase, it's still going to be Janna. It's still going to have some power, but it's not the sort of game where Janna just undoes what a blue side draft has chosen. For a last pick support, I was kind of expecting more.
And nowadays, we were talking about that bottom lane. It's not really like you're trying to overpower and win the bottom lane with big action, right? You're kind of sitting back and farming, so it's really about what can Janna do late and mid-game, and that's where we're kind of hitting a brick wall and getting a bit confused with the pick. But maybe Tushin can prove us wrong and perhaps even do some plays with that Janna.
Certainly not a pick without merit, just as a last pick support. If you're going to last pick something usually like, this is the ace in our sleeve, I'm just not seeing it leap off the page. I'm ready to be convinced. Kingzone would love a 2-0, especially against Afreeca. That started strongly. We're a bit surprised to see Cuz starting, but it is that LCK Championship lineup. And another debut that no one saw coming, aiming for his first ever professional game.
Coming on in, we also get to see Spirit on the Lee Sin. Wants to control the Khan-Cuz duo a little bit and get aggressive on that Lee Sin. So we'll see if he can make a splash here in this game, along with aiming for Afreeca versus Kingzone, game number 2. Go, guys. Game number 2.
Man, we filled up in here, Valdez.
Yes,
Extra seats put in. This was, of course, sold out days ago. And this match saw that every day. Over at OGN tomorrow, we have the Telecom War, so it only gets ratcheting up all throughout the week. So many must-see matchups. And here at the Gangnam Stadium, not a spare seat inside. It's going to be a really fun one here. Hard to read just because Afreeca have done a couple of surprising things in the draft. But to me, the person with the most intent in their pick is Spirit, who says, let's go for a skill matchup.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like whoever gets the drop on their enemy here between Kha'Zix and Lee Sin basically wins when it comes to that duel. The first Q is usually the one that cements who wins. Afreeca are not spotted. They will be starting red side, although Gnar entering lane late does give some pretty good information to the side of Cuz.
Yeah, they should know what's going on here. Cuz is spotted on the red ward.
Yep.
Or the Afreeca ward at the red. Is going to go straight to his Raptors, actually, clear out some of those. But, yeah, we're looking towards the top lane for this one as well, right? Both of these champions are ranged. Khan is known to be super oppressive on his Jace, already getting aggressive.
It's a winning
level
matchup.
1.
Winning matchup for Jace as well. He has a lot of winning matchups, of course, but this is a good time. And Khan doesn't have to play a lot of solo queue games on Jace to make us believers. He's the guy who single-handedly was thought to be defining the meta as we came into Worlds 2017. And whether it's a Maokai or a Gnar, you don't get many CS in the first wave if you're facing Khan's Jace.
Yeah, sitting back, only boomeranging. And you can see he's picked up the area as well just for a little bit more harass. That's what you got to do against Keen, who has gone for a Doran shield, understandably.
It's one of the very, very rare times you'll see Summoner Aerie in a top lane range versus range matchup, and that's because in the situationally melee times when it is Mega Gnar coming through from Keen, it's massive value out of the area as Cuz is invading and Spirit doesn't like it.
Cuz, you know, shaking off a bit of that Khan's pet image, saying, okay, we're gonna get aggressive here against Spirit, against his Lee Sin.
I mean, to some degree, but if you can see your top laner controlling the every move of the enemy top lane, that's still the right quadrant. So top red side jungle is definitely where Cuz is strongest, and that's why we see him playing there. If we ever have a heat map of a Cuz game, you can best believe we will not see many blue side entrances from the jungler to the bot side of the map.
We might actually have a heat map. We've had Spo do that before, at least last week on Tuesday, showed us one heat map. It was pretty cool. But yeah, he's like, I'm going to farm the stuff on my top side anyway, so let me try to steal some of his first so I can maximize my time on the top side. I think you're exactly right with that one. You can see what Khan is doing up in the top side already. Lots of shock blasts straight in the face. But here we go, Cuz with an early gank, and that's going to be the cleanse flash, and Kuro does get away with a bit of a shuffle as well towards the end, but that is both summoners blown against a very weak Kuro.
Yeah, really nice gank timing. I believe Kuro just used his Qs, so he didn't have his full rotation in order to be able to reposition for the escape. So by the time he got to it, had to use both summoners. Very big cost there. In the pre-match, we talked about Kuro's previous struggles on the Azir. Had a very good game, it should be mentioned, last time on the Azir, but previous to that had gone 1,013 days, I believe it was, without a victory. So needs to prove that he's getting his eye in multiple games, not just a flash-in-the-pan one game.
I like what Cuz is doing, you know, even some deep wards on in towards that Gromp. They get the vision on the Lee Sin, and look at what Khan can do. He's almost going to solo kill Keen up in the top side. As with the non-stop pushing, this is what we expected out of Khan, and especially knowing that Spirit is nowhere near, it just unlocks Khan to go nuts.
He just weaves his autos and spells so good. He never drops damage, hits every ability. You get out if you're keen, but he's already started Doran's shield. He's already working towards as much health and armor as he can. Keen knows his role, and his role is basically to just be dictated to by Khan.
Pretty much. You gotta follow the alpha in the lane, and you'll notice that Khan has not taken a single defensive passive summoner or rune or anything like that, right? He has taken Airy as well as Domination for a secondary tree, and then he went double Doran's Blade with double Longsword. So he's saying, just get the hell out of my lane, Keen. You don't deserve to be here. He wants to prove that he is the leader of the top lane with this Jace.
He's saying the Inspiration Tree is only inspiring in name only. He's trying to inspire the top lane carries with his full DPS approach, and was doing it out of fashion last year, trying to bring it back into fashion now. You definitely know someone when you get to see them again that you've missed them, and Khan definitely qualifies as that. Hasn't missed a beat.
Look at Cuz too, he hasn't missed a beat either. I love what he's doing, just always getting in there,
let's be fair.
Jungling.
He has Jace just wailing away on a Gnar and both summoners down on the mid lane, so he's in the right place, you're right.
Yeah.
It is reliable, but
wins the Smite War, right? We were talking about how Spirit's like, okay, I'm going to pick Lee Sin and out-counter jungler, out-jungle Cuz, but that's not the case so far.
But isn't this the struggle? When you see this and you're like, it feels so good. It feels like the Longzhu I remember now for Kingzone, but Peanut's not there is the thing we have to remember, so it is working a treat. I'd love to see them draft. I want to see Peanut with a Jace top lane draft because you didn't get too many of those during the season. Only during Worlds was Huni back as a starter and also back with the Jace duty. But the shoe fits so well because this is how they found all their success in 2017.
They're going in, man. They want this red. They're saying, this is our red. Everything's warded. They have a control ward up top. You see Spirit is up here. He's going to get a ward down, so they see that.
You can smite over the wall. That's why they're trying to pull it a bit more.
Okay, that's going to go over to Khan, too, who secures it with the Shock Blast. So Cuz didn't even have Smite there. He used it on the Raptor earlier on. They're saying, hey, might as well just give the red buff over to Khan as well. The top side of this map is entirely ours.
It's a tremendous start here from Kingzone. Even though you'd have to imagine Peanut has been dominating scrim time, they have not missed a beat in this particular game. The draft they are so happy with because of where the pressure lies. Azir actually does well into Rise pre-6, unless he's ganked as I see a storm. It's gathering.
Storm. It's happening.
On Janna, no less.
Yeah.
Well, if this game goes 90 minutes, he's going to have 305 AP, we heard. It's a number above 300 at the 90-minute proc, so...
Yeah.
Pull it late is suddenly a new meme here for the Afreeca Freaks.
It's very interesting because it would definitely go adaptive towards AP, right? It wouldn't go AD. Okay.
Well, you also you do notice that he also has an AP starting item. You don't get Relic Shield on the Janna, as Khan is still a huge jerk.
Yeah.
He picked up the red buff because that's who you want to give the red buff to.
He's just, he won game one, and he's like, okay, I have a big counter matchup, Gnar versus Shen, right? This time, we're going to give you the Gnar, but it's like a total dupe, right? They knew what they were doing with this 100%.
Full laning, Scorch here for the laning phase.
Yeah.
I watch games like this, and I'm like, if only Peanut could pick up the Ivern and just give every red buff to Khan. Especially if it's a red side.
He's going in. Here we go. Shock Blast is going to be stopwatched, and Khan is out of mana now. So let's see what he can do. Keen is not going to let him go too easily.
We said before, though, a successful gank is blowing one of the flash or stopwatch just straight up in the 1v1. Blows the stopwatch, won't be available next time, has a follow flash as well. So still big advantage to Khan, even if he had to give up most of his health bar to do it.
Yeah, and keep in mind this is, it's essentially 1v1, right? Cuz is doing a really nice job, as I've said before, of just always spotting where Spirit is on the map, but it's just Khan going off on the Jace and him having the room to do it. It's so fun to watch, and I love that our observer is only showing the bot lane when Khan is not in lane. 31 CS lead, not 3100 CS, that'd be amazing, for Jace on the top side, and going towards the Blade of Ruin King first, saying, well, I'm going to build purely for lane, and you can have fun with that. At the end of the day, when you see the first purchase was the Ruby Crystal, the Cloth Armor, and now the actually, I gotta get there. I can get there. The item that builds into Thornmail. Items are now avoiding me. Come on, brain. I'll let you handle it. Do you want me to spoil?
Yes.
It's
now you're gonna lose it.
It's something with Bramble
Vest.
Yeah.
So the Bramble Vest has been heavily nerfed as a rush item, and yet it's still being rushed here. Against the lifesteal might be decent. Spirit, ho!
Sitting on a ward, he's got a stopwatch of his own, but Cuz, look at him, he's got his own flash. That'll be first blood with a nice Q. He has his stopwatch as well, but he is incredibly low. Can he get away from this one? Khan is coming in, missing the boomerang, and the last auto is not going to take him down. Now it's Khan versus Keen, 1v1. He's got his ultimate up, he's going to hit the stun, but here comes Cuz. Coming back in. Oh, but he goes a little bit too deep. Eats the tower shot.
Buddy system might cost them here.
He's going to try to... Okay. Not sure what that was, but Khan got out of there, and Kuro misses every spell, and that means that only one kill is going to go to the side of Afreeca.
The hammer hit there actually pushed him out of spell range and wasn't able to actually pull off any sort of a move. So while it looked like a blooper, was a very nice hammer hit by the Jace to interrupt the spell weaving there on the side of Kuro. Not able to make it. It could have been 2 or 3 kills there for Afreeca, if not for that. Bot lane, I'm going to say double range is working out pretty damn well. We mentioned that in the late game it might not mean much, but this non-interactive lane, it is big turret damage lead the side of Afreeca.
I've noticed that Tushin has hit a couple of his tornadoes there very nicely on both members. So Spirit's sitting on a ward. You can see that they go for him here.
Yeah, incredible amount of burst. They could have backed away. The second stopwatch no doubt frustrates Khan from the last time he was playing Jace before the stopwatch meta. Cuz gets super low, and the buddy system kind of lets them down. Khan comes in trying to interrupt Cuz, who's one auto attack away from dying. But then because the Narbar is there, it's like Khan is going to die. So at the end of the day, the buddy system could have been a bit cleaner. Cuz takes tower aggro and dies. Watch what happens here, though. Kuro is licking his lips, but no, it was actually a botch.
Yeah,
okay.
He did not hit the hammer, and Kuro just...
I misread that. Kuro, unfortunately, back to his old Azir days.
I mean, it was a nice flash by Khan, but okay,
Speaking
here's
of
another flash. Going on in here, aiming, taking a little bit too much damage, Cuz he is back. He's got his jump on in, and a TP will come in from the Gnar, I believe, coming from behind, but that is a second kill onto the Den, and now it's 4v1, and this is very fast, getting out of control here. Will they go for another kill? 4 members coming on in. He misses that Q onto Spirit. Does Gorilla, but a bit of a botch of a gank there, and Afreeca getting caught out means that a couple kills go over to them as well as the first turret up in the top
You're
lane.
being kind, Valdez. A massive botch. The teleport was actually fully channeled by Keen, saying, all right, I'm probably going to lose my turret for this. He teleports onto a Caitlyn trap, so isn't able to do anything, and he's in Mininar form, so he was never going to be able to turn it around. The amount of instant gold and map pressure Kingzone have been able to get. Jace has exited lane 12 minutes in with the turret against the Gnar. This game has snowballed in a way we haven't seen since last year, and stealing away a red buff isn't going to stop it.
Oh, okay, Spirit. He's going on in. He does have the help of Kuro here now, but look at Cuz coming on in before the Keen. They're going to burst down Spirit before anything, and Kuro's damage is going to do something, but not before he goes down. Double kill going over to Cuz. Will be taken out by Keen, though, on the back end of it. So a 2 for 2, a rumble in the jungle so far.
Yeah, very, very bloody. In the end, Afreeca trading evenly with how far behind they were in terms of map pressure is not bad, but it doesn't really get them any more control in their red side jungle. You're still going to have Jace returning with a Blade of the Ruin King complete already to just item parts here from Keen, who desperately wants to put together something. Afreeca does not control their top side. They kind of knew that would be the way, but it's the bot side gank working that's still costing them. We're going to see the replay. It's ready to hit the Q much earlier. Didn't think he was going to taxi onto it, but does, because Kuro is in position. Keen is on the way. Khan has no health. He's at almost no mana. Gets some autos into Kuro. This should have probably been a 2-for-1 for Afreeca, but because the autos do register from King's Zone, they go 2-for-2, which works for them.
Yeah. Kuro with the botched flash there, trying to get over the wall. Doubtful as to whether that would have saved his life, but some mechanics not 100% there, obviously, for Kuro. And shoutouts to Cuz, by the way, who has been all over this map.
I mean, he's 4-2-2. He is the snowboard Kha'Zix we haven't seen in, what, 3 or 4 match days. We've had Kha'Zix struggle in ways we didn't expect. Seeing the contest here for blue.
3v3 for now, but you guys can see Kuro and Keen even walking closer to this blue buff just to secure it for Kuro. Meanwhile, Keen just not in the top lane. Khan letting it push right now towards him is going to clear that out for now.
It's a good shot call from the side of King's Zone. They knew that Keen had already left lane, and also that they're strongest around where Jace is. Jace didn't have teleport up. Jace wasn't going to be there, so don't contest in a 4v4 when most of your early pressure and damage, the guy who's 60 CS up, isn't even there.
Yeah, this is spiraling out of control very fast as the Mountain Drake is picked up. Khan getting some vision in the jungle, stealing as many jungle creeps away from Spirit, who has been pretty, he's not been there really. Kind of absent from the game. He's tried to make a couple of plays, hasn't really worked out for him. He has 1 assist and 2 deaths so far on this Lee Sin. And you were talking about how it's a bit of a skill matchup, right? The Lee Sin versus the Kha'Zix, and so far, Cuz getting the better end of that one.
The moment that we saw Khan so exquisitely, disassemble Keen from what, level 1, level 2 with his threading. Nice little Q over the wall there. They knew they would have no presence. It's always going to be tough in the Gnar versus Jace side of the matchup because Gnar does heavily lose basically every trade. But the moment that he also lost all of his health early, it meant that Spirit kind of had to play a reactionary game. He couldn't really play around a pushing mid lane and an even top lane, and thus he was defensive. Cuz read the situation smartly, started invading with the pressure, and then Spirit is just a Lee Sin who has losing lanes, which doesn't feel powerful. You're not playmaking with your kick, you're disengaging with it. Yeah. Bot lane was a Janna lane, so you're not going to gank that either. Speaking of ganks.
Yeah, speaking of engaging here, we get behind the bottom lane. Tushin is going to disappear, and here comes Khan even with his own teleport. Going to pick up the Varus. Braum able to knock up Spirit in the back, and Lee Sin looking more useless than ever, not getting there in time. Not that he could have done much. That's another 2 kills on the board now for King's Zone. And this is what the fans wanted to see, right? They wanted the aggression. They wanted the action. And finally, we're getting it out of King's Zone already very far ahead at only 17 minutes into the game.
And we're seeing a very special game, which is kind of surreal to say after the 94-minute extravaganza of the last few days. And the reason why I say that, Valdez, is that this isn't supposed to be how the meta is. Jace's been available in lots of games, but not selected. But the ability of King's Zone to default to these Jace drafts, to even play around your kills that would have been there before, remember. 2 stopwatches stopped 2 earlier kills from Jace being registered onto Lee Sin and Gnar. But then even in the context of all of that, they're playing exactly the same style against a meta that's supposed to counter it, but they're doing it so damn well that it looks just the same as 2017 Summer Longzhu game.
They're essentially styling all over Afreeca, making it look easy, right? It's not what we expected when Cuz came in, but once we saw that Jace pick, kind of opening up our eyes here to the possibilities, right? You don't always have to play 100% to the meta. So here we go, taking a look at jungle proximity. Cuz has just had his way with the map and with Spirit. 4 out of 5 gank attempts actually being successful for Cuz so far.
And I would have loved the stat of, enemy jungle time,
the heat map
right?
too, by the way.
Yeah, the heat map is basically confirming that enemy jungle time. He spent his time in exactly the white quadrant. Basically spent all of his time in the top red side jungle for the enemy team of Afreeca Freaks. It's kind of a weird game where 18 minutes in, your bot laner is stealing away the red buff in any meta, but that just to the nth degree shows how strong King's Zone is around wherever Jace is. Now Jace is going to rotate to the bot side. Praise going to go for a leisurely walk with the red buff to siege even stronger in the mid lane. The lane assignment here is so powerful, and you notice that Keen, he's just trying to lane wherever Jace isn't.
I mean, he's just struggling to have any presence on the map so far. He was trying to get over to help out with the dragon fight that almost broke out near the blue. Didn't really do much there. He's meekly walking down into the bottom lane now, just hoping that Jace won't be there. trying to pick up the scraps of his farm that's there. Only has a frozen mallet so far.
And the bramble vest.
Yeah, the bramble vest still there.
I've learned that one.
Yeah.
I'll remember it. But, oh, Kuro.
I mean, this is just, as you were saying, he's picked up the Dustblade. He is farmed out of control now. He's got mobility boots, too, which just makes his mobility on the map even that much stronger with that evolved ultimate on the Kazakhs.
Trying to delay here with the Janna shields. Might buy one more minion wave. Should do. Watching Amy walk up.
Rain's just poking the members instead of the turret there. Trying to do some damage. Does a bit to Tushin.
There's a lot of meanwhiles. Meanwhile, Jace put the red buff. Meanwhile, Rise pushing in an insanely large minion wave into Azir's face. Means Azir won't be there, even if Spirit looks for some playmaking. He's going to find BDD.
Yeah, he's going to lock him down here.
Oh!
Look at that burst damage coming out from BDD. Almost 100-0 Spirit over there by the brush, making him even more worthless in this game. Well, worthless is kind of mean, but, you know, hasn't really had much of a presence.
Look, we know we're not talking about his human worth, but
Yes.
In terms of his game worth, he's pretty useless in this particular game.
Sure.
Not much he can do. Keen and Spirit might as well be battle wards because they are not really going to be able to contribute. BDD pushes up. The full court press looks oh so easy when you're 6,000 gold ahead at 20 minutes. Yeah, Kingzone. This is the team that everyone praised in summer. Same lineup comes back. They do it again. They roll back the clock with the Jace.
Yeah.
It's just a pleasure to watch after really so many games that were the antithesis of games like this.
Yeah. It's going to be funny when people look at the, okay, hold that thought. Tushin, you're a Janna. You have a lot of disengagement tools, but you almost got 100-0 there before you realized what was happening. But yeah, it's going to be funny when people look at the match results after. They're going to see, oh, Cuz actually came in. And oh, wow, that was the most dominant game of all of LCK yet. You know, maybe they should just play Cuz every game. That's what they might think. Obviously, when you watch the game, it looks a little bit different.
You know, I'm going to give some Kingzone some roster advice. Play Khan every game. This is the guy who should be playing every game. Obviously, he was not available to be picked in the first series. We're having some fun, but he has had a day out today. Even if Cuz will probably win the MVP here, you'd imagine, for Game 2.
Yeah.
My vote will go to Khan, who's been styling.
He just hasn't really been picking up the kills, you know, whereas Cuz has been in every single kill.
100% kill participation as well.
He's been in the top lane. He's been in the enemy jungle. He's been mid. Forced the summoners out of Kuro early on. He's been bot for the gank when they were pushing up a little bit too far, right? When you were talking about it, right?
There is certainly an argument for Cuz, who's had a great game, but you know, I always think about how this game should have gone, and if you're an average Jace, it doesn't go this way. Cuz isn't able to be in those positions because you're behind, but if you're Khan's Jace, then you do things that just look so exquisite that Afreeca and Keen, who, remember, held Smep, you know, pretty one-to-one quite well, has been left wanting compared to Khan in full form. He used his time in solo queue, a lot of solo queue games compared to most of the pro players, because, of course, wasn't able to scrim for week 1. But the Jace wasn't there. Doesn't need to be. So damn good at that pick. Top lane turret will go down soon.
Yeah, it's a little bit disappointing for the Afreeca fans, I have to feel, right? You know, Keen coming in, looking good earlier on, but now just getting totally crushed. And especially after taking out KT, right? The first time in over a year, able to take out such a big team as KT, but now just getting crushed by Kingzone 2 games in a row. I mean, not really the follow-up you were looking for.
Khan's Jace monstered basically every team. You know, one loss in the summer season among all events, so just the reality. This pick especially opens him up to the nth degree. Had a great game on Gnar against Shen, it should be noted as well if you missed game 1. Now has the duo of items. The Blade of the Ruined King was the Rush. Now has the Black Cleaver as well. For his, I'm going to just kill Gnar every time. Doesn't matter what form he's in.
You can stack it so fast when you're Jace, but also you have Cuz for the backup, so you're just shredding armor like nothing, right? You shred the armor, and then you have the lethality Kazakhs to jump in too. Even if you're going up against the Gnar, who's picked up a Thornmail, right? You're going to be doing some significant damage against anyone that you target.
You see Jace pushing up, wants to remove any vision, ensure that Kingzone have the run of the bot side in the 1v1. Steals away the big wolf. Swag walk away, says Khan.
He is the big wolf, right?
He's the big dog, that's for sure.
Making Keen understand what is the top lane right now.
Look, we have a wolf in the jungle in LCK.
True, yeah.
But we have only one alpha dog, one big dog. That is Khan on your screen right now. Secret Agent Khan, not using the Debonair Jace skin, but you wouldn't know from his play.
Looking good so far. And oh so quietly, BDD, you know, sitting at 2-1-3. He's getting farmed up 3 items at this point. Hasn't really had too much, you know, impact on this game. But did a good job of reacting to Cuz's gank and just pushing in Kuro from there. Has a CS lead. The
most interesting to look at is I'll hold the point.
Okay, they are going to knock down Cuz here, but they cannot get the kill. He gets away. And it looks like Kingzone just wants to disengage after that, but not even letting them get another kill here is Cuz.
Praise just walking up happily. Like you mentioned, that extra health crystal enough to keep Cuz through. So brittle. Khan never going to teleport to that. Not interested. Going to walk and take a lot of turret HP. No one dies, so they don't need to arrest the momentum at all. They keep poking down. And there's just nothing Afreeca can do. You look at their lineup and say, but they have initiation. They can't be grouped as 5 because then their inhibitor's gone on the bot side and other things happen. They don't have the vision to make proactive plays unless we see Cuz face checking. So to actually create the 5v5 team fight that Afreeca could try to layer, just so unrealistic with where the lanes are at right now.
So fun to watch Khan's Jace. Even now that he's super far ahead, just it looks so smooth, you know? The very quick jump in the hammer form, and only taking 1 tower shot just to do a little bit more damage to push Keen out of lane. Let's see if he can get the blue buff. That would help out with this push, but looks like he will respect the smite of Spirit here. I say that, but still goes for it. Does get smited away.
At the end of the day, drawing the smite out and having the Lee Sin pick up the blue buff is fine from the perspective of Khan. Second best, just taking it himself. Smart little blue trinket ward there, denies the fast Baron start. Kings don't have an insanely fast Baron.
Okay, now it looks like BDD wants to get some damage done. Doesn't want to be too far behind on the damage charts.
Man, Unbreakable just blocked about 3,000 damage there. BDD, his item build is different this time. Remember, Rod of Ages in the first game in a scaling game. This time he goes for the Abyssal Mask, knowing that all he has to do is stay in lane and front line. Speaking of front line, Gorilla tries to interrupt Spirit.
Okay, you can see Gorilla in the front lines, but he needs some help. He's going to get a nice 4-man ultimate. Here comes BDD over the wall, and Khan is jumping in. Will pick up the kill on the Spirit, but here comes Kuro. That's going to be BDD, though, getting away with a perfectly timed stopwatch and the Realm Orb. Now they're turning it around. Khan up in the front line with BDD. He's going to take out another member. They're looking to turn this around now. Cuz still at full health is going to take out one, gets the Varus, and the rest of them running with their tail between their legs. Kingzone, man, they are out of control in this game.
Their synergy is so on point. The ability to turn, know how tanky they are, make every little spell matter. They're going to turn back onto the Baron. We're going to see the replay. We could use the picture-in-picture here, Spo TV, but we'll watch the replay. Thank you very much.
They're listening.
Some nice little plays there. Gorilla staying alive. Baron down to 380. Apparently we had no smite there. Never mind, didn't need one. No John of Steel. The stopwatch is still there for the ability to get out.
Perfect timing, too.
And Keen thinks he's going to turn on to Prey, but everyone does a lot of damage. Your item build is a bit anemic. And from there, it's just too easy for Kingzone.
Yeah. Gorilla, really got to shout out him as well, even though he wasn't the one doing the damage, right? He delayed it, he lined them up, he got a big ultimate, and then later on, he just blocked so much damage with that Unbreakable, just leading the charge along with Cuz in the front line. So
I had the chance to ask Gorilla about support picks after their loss last week, and I said, you know, were there any real takeaways from you after the loss to KSV? He said, look, I knew tank supports were really strong. Hypercarry tank is what we expected for this meta, but specifically Braum from Core JJ really surprised him. 2 games there, he said, I realized that I undervalued Braum and that Braum was much better than I appreciated. Comes in the Braum here, 0-0 and 8 kill score, preferring it over things like Taric that were available. Tom Kench was available, not necessarily the strongest pick in this scenario, but they really are going to push up the Braum, and I think a lot of teams can really take inspiration from that because the Braum pick clearly is very powerful.
Yeah, clearly is. I mean, after watching
when you have hyper
game,
carries and Rageblade Varus is putting out a lot of damage to one target and the Unbreakable can negate most of it, you win those 5v5 team fights. You eke forward purely from the strength of Braum's E.
Yeah. It's funny to say, too, especially after how dominant his Alistar was in Game 1. Just Gorilla putting on a show, not just playing one champion, showing he can do it on 2. Very nicely done. Kingzone, they really are running away with this one now. They're 14,000 gold ahead, above 14,000 even, as they push in with the Baron buff, doing the 1-3-1. They got Ryze down in bot lane. Not much of an answer here for Afreeca.
I mean, let's do a recap. You know, game 1, when did we know that Kingzone would win? Probably around 28 minutes when they got so much out of the headbutt pulverized teleport that came in from the Alistair. In this game, felt like about 5 minutes in, you're like, well, this feels like a Khan Jace game.
Yeah.
This game has had inevitability for a long time. Let's try and dogpile on the Jace, kill him, it'll make us feel better.
Yeah, they're going to be able to. I mean, when you put in this many resources, but heads up, you're losing your mid inhibitor. Let's see if they can rotate fast enough. It looks like the answer is yes for now.
They get the turret, though. Taking a turret against Azir Varus is so... Azir Varus Janna, like, it's a really terror team to actually take down a turret is very difficult, so usually you'd say that's, you know, a loss, right? Losing your split-pushing top laner for just an inhibitor turret, but just given how powerful this team is at wave clear, it's actually a pretty decent spot.
Yeah, opens up that inhibitor. You can see it's already taken a bunch of damage. Prey just trying to push in with each wave, get 1 or 2 auto attacks at most. Does not want to get engaged upon. I mean, even though Spirit hasn't shown too much in this game, he's still there, and he can try to insect Prey if he does get an opportunity here. So Prey will have to be a little bit careful. One
thing I want to track is Khan's average farm lead on Jace, because Flame Horizon was a while ago. It's 120 CS up here. I feel like 100 is his average, given how dominant he often is on this Jace. So who knows how many Jace games we'll see, or be treated to, I guess we should say, because the Jace is really the reason this game has been so accelerated.
Yeah.
But, yep, very conveniently, very casually just slamming the CS department.
It really came down to the draft, too. They kind of baited out that Gnar pick, and then he was like, okay, I'll pick this right before it can get banned, as it was in game number 1.
They got the Ryze that really has no awful matchups.
Yeah.
And then they got the counter matchup on the Gnar that was the takeaway pick for Afreeca. So it was the dream. Lots of credit to Alongju drafting, coaching staff for that one.
Yeah. Well, they've taken out one inhibitor, looking for the top one. They have lost Baron buff here, but now even Prey is beginning to get online. Hasn't had too much of an impact in this game so far, just chipping away at Keen in the front line. BDD, meanwhile, just looking to sync up with that bottom wave, perhaps, and push that one in.
Prey doesn't really do any damage to Keen, it should be noted, because Keen at the very early Bramble Vest into the Thorn Mail, so watch this ultimate. Yep, does about 200 damage. Boom. No Last Whisper yet for Prey. Just wants to be auto-attacking the turret, but has to respect Keen's Gnar bar.
Yep. There it is, okay. Corruption is going to come forward, but no real follow-up here. As Keen was a little bit late on that Gnar, misses his ultimate entirely, but now here comes Azir in the front, and Varus getting a lot of damage done. Perhaps Kingzone went a little bit too far this time around. Make that 2 kills as both Caitlyn and Jace go down. But Ryze very calmly pushing in the bottom lane.
And it was smart from Afreeca to collapse when they did. Semi-global is not full global, so BDD was not able. BDD, remember, can push up, and then there's no ability for Keen to interrupt him through the Realm Warp, so they do pick up the inhibitor. It's looking a bit kind of hasty because Kingzone are trying to skip over some of the things you're supposed to do in these scenarios and take these inhibitors earlier. You could just continue to pull back and be respectful, but they basically say, look, we're going to give up some kills here, but we're going to eventually take the inhibitor for it. Is it worth it this time? Maybe on the nose side, but they are able. They got a second inhibitor. Kingzone, instead of pulling back and waiting for the minions, we're too far up. Nice collapse from Afreeca, but it takes all 5. And if you're taking all 5, Kingzone will make you pay on the map.
They definitely will. A couple of inhibitors now down. Baron about 1 minute and 10 seconds away. You can see Afreeca kind of scrambling over here to get whatever vision they possibly can.
Well, they haven't been able to get anywhere near the Baron for the last, 30 minutes of the game, so it's happy for them to be able to put down some vision before Jace shows up. Jace did not have teleport.
I don't think they can have any delusions of taking a straight-up 5v5 fight around the Baron, right? But if they get some vision down, perhaps a miracle steal out of Spirit or something like that could keep their hopes alive.
The one thing you can say about Baron is that it requires Kingzone to be grouped, and they still have Azir, Varus, Gnar. Like, there is a team fight where they burst down 2, and they do win it. So getting kited around is the worst. It's playing 3 lanes as Afreeca is almost impossible, even with their wave clear. So it sounds crazy, given that they're 15,000 gold down. But you're probably best bet for something to happen as aiming hopes for the prediction doesn't get it. But it feels like the only way for them to make something happen is if people are grouped. And Baron's one of the only places that Kingzone are likely to be grouped.
Meanwhile, Khan is the only one sent down over here to the Infernal. They did just spot a bunch of members of Afreeca up towards Baron, so you can easily solo this out. You can see that Cuz not even making his way down, trying to min-max as much as possible. Just only sending Khans over there, bringing in their second Infernal before this potential Baron comes out.
A wealth of options from the Drakes, 2 Infernals and a Mountain. BDD staying in the base, because why not? Doesn't see Kuro just yet, he's in a control ward, but might try to slam him down. Nope, you can't do that, because he got his area.
He did not even hesitate for a second. He's
Speaking of not hesitating.
I'm out. Okay, here comes the Baron. Spirit is still there, locks down the Q. They're going to totally just reject this. Go off the Baron, stop any DPS. They're not taking any 50-50s here. Not when they're this far ahead.
Where's the Realm Warp going to come in? Not used yet.
He used it to escape down on the bot lane, so just trying to run up in here, and good respect out of Afreeca to just like get out of dodge, not anywhere near there. Now we got Super Minion knocking on those Nexus turrets, and Kingzone might make another play towards Baron.
They were able to draw the teleport out of Keen, so Keen is now clearing out the Super Minions pushing in. They know he can't be there for the near future. Does make Baron safer, and that's why they're right back on.
Yeah, Keen not the fastest on the Gnar at clearing the minions, the Super Minions, but you can see Spirit is the only hope, but he might just get popped, and down he does go right after that Baron gets staked out by Cuz. So Spirit trying to be the hero, not much that he can do.
It's the perfect setup. You know, they got the teleport the first time. The Super Minions had to be respected. No ability for Gnar to get there. Rise on interruption duty, and he has a targeted route to guarantee slowing down the pace of the Rise, and it's too easy on the side of Kingzone. It really is the Longzhu special coming through from Kingzone today. Mid lane inhibitors down. Last inhibitor turret of the game going down, and we're just ready to give Kingzone the big W.
We're waiting there with the trophy of this game, like, here, please accept it already, right? You've already taken this one. You've already beaten Keen and Spirit down a little bit too much. So, you know, got to feel bad for Aiming's debut as well. He did well, but not the easiest game to stomach when it really was all just the Kingzone show here.
I mean, let's be real. Bot lane, this was a 2-lane game. This was played in top lane and mid. Bot lane was not relevant to this Kingzone victory.
Yeah. So, down do go the 2 Nexus turrets. BDD trying to chunk down the Gnar, and the front side is going to zone his early. Keen missing that ultimate, but here comes Cuz trying to burst him down. There's that lethality. Down goes Spirit, and down goes the Nexus to secure the 2-0 victory for Kingzone Dragon X.
Big cheers from the crowd. Kingzone, oh so popular here in Korea and around the world. Cuz comes into the lineup. They look even better. Bit of a selection nightmare given that Kingzone do play